stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
This is to advise those present at this meeting of the Board of Education of the Pinelands Regional School District in the County of Ocean that adequate notice of this meeting was provided in accordance with the Open Public Meeting Act. The notice has been posted in the Board of Education office, junior high school, and high school buildings. The notice was also sent to the Press of Atlantic City, Asbury Park Press, and filed with the municipal clerks of Bass River Township, Eagleswood Township, Little Egg Harbor Township, and the Borough of Tuckerton. Amanda, can I have a roll call vote, please, or roll call, please?
Sure, I'm just going to give the two members a chance to sit down.
Thank you.
Miss Betty? Here. Mr. Hewitt?
Here.
Miss Johnson? Here. Miss Crystal Martin? Here. Miss Patty Martin? Here. Mrs. McVeigh? Here. Ms. Zimmerman? She'll be marked absent. Mr. Dalio?
Here.
Mr. Bonnicky?
Here.
We are in session.
Fantastic. Item 3, can I have a motion to approve the listed minutes?
So made.
Second.
Are there any questions or comments on the minutes? Hearing none. Amanda, roll call vote, please.
Sure. Miss Betty?
Here.
Mr. Hewitt?
Yes.
Ms. Johnson? No. No on all of them? Yes. Noted. Miss Crystal Martin? Yes. Miss Patty Martin?
Yes, however, I'm abstaining from December 3rd, the board member training.
Okay. Noted. Mrs. McVeigh?
Yes.
Mr. Dalio?
Yes.
Mr. Bonnicky?
Yes.
Motion carries.
Thank you. Moving into item 4, reports under students' reports. Is Jacob Wilczek here? Jacob, prompt, you popped it straight up. Fantastic. Is Wilczek correct? Yes. Thank you.
Hello.
Hello.
Well, the last 2 months at our junior high have been eventful. Sorry. Ooh, that's much better. Starting with November, we had our annual Veterans Day luncheon, and it was a huge success. We give big thanks to Mrs. Trina, Mrs. Brady, and the Junior Interact Club and National Junior Honor Society for all their hard work in helping to make this event possible. We had a great turnout, and it was amazing to hear all these veterans' experiences. We had one veteran. So sorry. We had one veteran who turned 98 on November 1st, and that is truly amazing. It's remarkable. School-based youth services hosted their annual Glow Dance on November 15th, and we had a great turnout, around 250 students. We also brought a group of 30 students to the Big Kahuna Water Park on December 7th, and 18 of which were from the junior high, I believe. Our winter sports are starting up again with our wrestling teams, 7-8 boys and 7-8 girls basketball teams, and our cheerleading squad off to a highly competitive season. I personally wish these athletes the best of luck in their winter seasons. Our yearbook is underway. They've decided on a cover and they've started to design pages. They're working very hard to meet their May deadline. Our Pinelands Regional Drama Department is currently conducting auditions for their next show, and we wish all of our thespians luck in this process. This year, the student government has decided to extend the Spirit Week into the entire month of December, and it is very exciting to see all of our staff and students in their creative holiday spirit. Our winter pep rally was on December 13th. We showed great school spirit. Some highlights from this event were our junior high faculty performing the 12 Days of Christmas song and our third wrestling battle between Santa and the Grinch. Thank you to all of our staff and facilities personnel who helped make this event possible. And a special thank you to the Parkertown Fire Department for lending us their sleigh, in which and we had a grand entrance for our mascot. Last month, members of the Junior High Pride Club, along with school-based youth services, conducting our annual Thanksgiving food drive. It ran from Monday, November 11th to Friday, November 22nd. In addition to collecting donations, we also asked classes and staff to volunteer to adopt a family. A pledge to adopt a family meant the class or staff member had made a commitment to donate a complete Thanksgiving meal. The Pride Club had an overwhelming response to the food drive this year, not only putting together 22 complete family meals, but also receiving enough donations to support families for this Christmas season. School-based youth services and the Junior High Pride Club would like to thank all of those who made this year's drive so successful. The last 2 months at Pinelands have been exciting and eventful, and we look forward to many more great events in the winter months ahead. A big and special thank you to all of our faculty, staff, and administrators who have made this year a great one. On behalf of the junior high school student government, I would like to wish everybody very happy holidays and a very happy new year. Thanks.
Thank you, Mr. Wilczek. Mr. Ramos, you shake your head from left to right and up and down. I don't know if you're blessing yourself because you have to go next, but good luck, kiddo.
That's remarkable every time. Good evening. December has been a short but action-packed month at Pinelands Regional High School, filled with exciting events and activities. This week of 12/16 is buzzing with school spirit, featuring from themes like dressing as Santa's helpers, wearing pajamas, showing off our ugly sweaters, and sporting holiday hats. This week will culminate with the holiday colors worn at the pep rally, where each class will represent a different color. On December 19th, Wildcats in Action will host a holiday trivia showdown for all Pride Card students to test their knowledge and win some festive prizes. The seniors enjoyed their annual breakfast and tree decorating event, bringing holiday cheer to the school community. The academic team competed in the Jingle Bell Brawl and proudly secured 4th place, showcasing their academic prowess. Lead and Seed participated in a valuable training day focused on consent education and leadership development, equipping them with important skills for the future. The History Club had a memorable day in New York where they visited the 9/11 Museum and spent time exploring the festive atmosphere of Bryant Park. The Future Business Leaders of America have continued their work with the Cat Shack, helping to revamp the business. They also held a winter thrift shop in the Commons on December 13th, offering affordable clothing for students. The class of 2028 is selling Christmas hats and headbands, perfect for getting into the holiday spirit. The class of 2026 hosted a bake sale in the Commons, offering delicious treats. Student ambassadors have been selling hot chocolate in the mornings, warming everyone up for the season. The cheerleaders had an outstanding performance at the recent competition, earning a bid to nationals in February, which will be held in Orlando, Florida. The winter sports season off to a strong start, with indoor track and bowling kicking off their seasons. Additionally, wrestling triumphed over Asbury Park, with several wrestlers placing high in their divisions at a recent tournament. The musical Wildcats put on a terrific winter concert on December 12th and are gearing up for the band winter concert this Wednesday, December 18th. These incredible performances are a terrific way to celebrate the season. As December comes to a close, it's been a month full of school spirit, achievements, and holiday fun. Wishing everyone a joyful holiday season and a well-deserved break. Go Wildcats.
Thank you, Mr. Ramos. On to our superintendent's report. Dr. McCooley.
Thank you, President Bonnicky. I just have a couple of things. I want to thank Shannon Zimmerman for her time on the board. As we know, this is volunteer, and she put a lot of time and effort into this. She's been very supportive of the school district, and we want to thank her. Unfortunately, she couldn't be here this evening. She did have a trip with her daughter, but we have a plaque for her, and we'll make sure she gets it. The plaque was made by Mr. Carmona and our wood shop classes, and they're just doing such an amazing job.
I'll read it.
Sure.
It says, presented to Shannon Zimmerman, who served as a member on the Pinelands Regional Board of Education, in appreciation for your 3 years of outstanding and dedicated service to the students and staff of the Pinelands Regional School District. With this award of gratitude goes our heartfelt thanks and appreciation for your service to our community. From the Pinelands Regional Board of Education, December 16, 2024.
Thank you. I will make sure she gets that. Just a reminder that next Friday is an early dismissal, and we return back to school in full session on January the 2nd. Our reorg is January 6th at 6 o'clock. Merry Christmas and Happy New Year. Happy holidays to everyone, our staff, students, and all of our families. And then lastly, I do have to bring up, because something that continues to happen that ultimately is going to cost the district money each time it's happening. Every time an ethics charge is filed against a board member, the retainer to the insurance company is $5,000. We've had other investigations done by outside attorneys at this point, which were very costly. Every board member has had training. We had an additional training recently from school boards. Ms. Friedman did a great job, and that was very costly. But we had someone come in and do another ethics training. And one of the things Ms. Friedman said when the question was asked was only the superintendent and business administrator should be disseminating information to the entire board. And you should not be hitting reply all. It's continuing to happen. And it's not only happening, it's happening in a way that myself, Ms. Frasca, Dr. Frasca, are being disparaged, we're being criticized, we're being evaluated, and it's an ethics violation. So I just want to put on notice that this is still happening. It's going to continue to cost money. And any advice perhaps from Mr. Donia or anything that you think we can do to rectify this situation without shutting someone's email off?
Well, good evening, everyone. We've already discussed at length in executive session some of the things and some of the concerns that I share, and I'd rather not share them, air them publicly. But it is problematic. I mean, it's not hard to not send stuff. In fact, rarely have I ever seen an ethics complaint that begins with board member X was accused of not sending an email to the entire board. So, I mean, it seems so simple as to defy explanation, or to defy the need for explanation. But nonetheless, here we are, and we'll move forward.
That's all I have.
Thanks, Doc. Item 5, presentations. There are none at this time. Moving into item 6 under work session, board forum. Doc, you gave us a draft of the school calendar for 25-26.
There's actually 2 drafts, so if you want to look those over, and if any of the board members have feedback, just please email Dr. Frasca directly and copy me on the email.
What is our time frame for this to go onto the agenda to vote on it?
So we typically wait for the VOTEC calendar to come out because we want to align ourselves with them because of our kids that go to VOTEC. We haven't gotten theirs yet. So at our county meeting recently, they asked us to send our calendars to them. So it's still in the initial phase. Like I said, we try to align with them as best possible because if we're closed and there's VOTEC, we still have to get our kids there and vice versa. So we have some time.
Okay.
Is there a reason why we can't talk about the calendar in this work session?
Well, we can.
Okay.
Sure. Question?
Well, yeah, I'm the only one that talks, so, draft, like, I just have questions, like, do we really need the full week of November 3rd through the 7th off? There just seems to be a lot of, days off. Did we ever think about maybe doing a parent survey to see what they think about all the days off? Because for November, it's 13 instructional days with all the holidays. December is 15, and that's not even including like all the band and theater kids having a day to go to sending districts or competitions. The band students going to other sending districts for concerts. There's a lot of half days for personal development. Can't we condense that into like full days so then it's more instructional? I mean, we need to do something about keeping the kids in school.
So the PD is professional development. That is something that is that contractual?
The contractual or the amount of days that teachers have to work and the students have to be here 180 days. We do half days because it's less disruptive to do the PD, and we try to align that occasionally with when Little Egg Harbor has to have half days because of their parent-teacher conferences. So we try to do that, and we have done it in the past where we've done full days, but then that affects VOTEC again. So we try not to have off for the day because if VOTEC kids still have to come to school here.
Right.
Once again, if VOTEC has off for the week in November of Teachers Convention, we try to align with them, and they did. The other piece of that is we have surveyed parents in the past. We have surveyed the staff in the past. The staff wants the entire week off. Parents, it's usually 50-50. The problem is when we are here, when we don't take the entire week off, Tuesday's election day, Thursday and Friday's teachers convention. What typically winds up happening is teachers call out Monday and Wednesday. We don't have enough staff and nothing's getting done anyway. So it's just more responsible to take the entire week, knowing that we're not going to have the staff here anyway.
And the
Gotcha.
reasoning behind the half day on the first day of school, is that for VOTEC too?
Nope, that came at the request of the high school administration, and the junior high was on board with that. It's easier to get the kids acclimated with their schedule on the half day, and it just seemed to flow better for the students and the staff that way.
And how many VOTEC students do we have?
I don't know. You can email me and I can get the answer to you.
You will never get the
I don't
answer
have
to
the
me.
answer on the top of my
Okay,
head of
you
how many
never have the
VOTEC kids there are.
answers.
Stephanie,
I'm just
you asked a
saying-
question.
And I don't get the answers. And you
You
don't allow
asked
me
the-
to get the answers either because you never follow up. So the thing is, so we're having junior high and high school work around a few VOTEC kids to make it easier for busing. Is that the reason for the so many days off, like 13 days instruction for November? No wonder why we're not passing math and English, because they're not here to learn.
Okay.
And there's 4 prep rallies each year. You know, it's a fun school, which I love, but we're not a performing arts school. This isn't fame. Like,
Okay,
this is an
thank you.
educational institution.
With a bit of levity too, I think if we don't take that week off, Disney World or Disneyland may go bankrupt. Because that's Jersey week.
Right.
Everybody goes on vacation.
Are we,
Just saying.
sorry, Betty. Are we discussing with the other districts what their plans are, especially for the week in November? Because, you know, with students and younger students in the elementary school, it does make a difference if, you know, some parents are counting on childcare if they have to work that week, you know.
So as I said, we try first to go with VOTEC, and then Dr. Fresca, didn't we send the calendar out to, or do we request theirs? We requested the elementary districts. Not yet. Yeah, like we said, it's just in the draft phase right now. So there's 94 students in VOTEC. Just because Dr. Fresca doesn't have a microphone, I'm just going to repeat it. Sure.
Okay.
Yep.
Ms. Martin?
And as far as this week off in November, do we know how many districts in New Jersey take that whole week off as well? I mean, I'm sure off the top of your head you
I
don't
don't
know.
know,
You don't
and-
want an exact
But
number.
that's another good point, that if our staff is asked to come in on Monday and Wednesday, some of them may have children that are off the entire week. So that is difficult for them as well. We ran into that problem years ago.
Sure. I mean, I think it's also difficult for parents of students. I know it's the high school, but the younger children or children with special needs who are in our district who have parents who work also during that week.
Sure.
I mean, it's a lot of, you know, conflicting things to balance there, but I was just curious overall in New Jersey, kind of what that week it looks
I
like.
could definitely get the number for Ocean County for you, because I can just send a survey out to the superintendent group.
Yeah, and I'm not sure, even not even exact numbers, just interesting. It would be interesting to see how other districts do handle November, because 13 instructional days, you know, 3 or half, it is not a lot of time in the classroom in that month. And
And then they get out earlier in the summertime, which helps too.
well, yeah,
Yeah.
health killer, and then you have consistent childcare if needed.
Sure.
Yeah, just curious to see how it's handled across the board.
Well, isn't it also?
And I
at
don't
the
really
end of the
like
year?
Disney World, so to me, I'm not going. So
It's the greatest place on earth. What are you talking about?
Happiest.
Well, again, we're contracted for 180 days, but then again, at the end of the year, we always have that issue, depending on how the winter weather is, if we do lose days.
Sure.
But it also impacts graduation.
Correct.
So
Snow days would.
Yeah, the snow days would, but
Right.
again, that day is set as far as graduation. Usually it's a day after or day before the last day.
I'm sorry, say that question again. Mr.
The last day for graduation.
Yeah, that day is set for graduation.
The same
Set.
day,
Yes.
the last day is graduation.
Yes.
So if we do add more days, my point is, we already have 180 days that we're meeting the obligation of the state. So if we do add more time, which I'm not against that at all, I think kids should be in school a little bit more anyway, would it impact, like, you're gonna meet that 180 days earlier, wouldn't you, if you added more time each day, if you added
Yes,
7 days?
right. You would get out earlier.
So,
Correct.
and there's nothing wrong with extending a school year by 190.
It's only ever 180. It's only ever 180.
That's my point. see?
Right. Contractually, the teachers only come 184.
That's my point.
Right.
See, I'm glad Lisa Betty said that, because that was my point.
It's illegal. No.
Yeah.
180 days is 180 days. I
Exactly.
think especially in months like November, when the kids are in for a week, out for a week. I
Exactly,
think it's
yes.
the flow of learning and the kids being in like that mindset of, okay, we're in school now, not being like, all right, 2 more days till our next break again. And, but I'm not an educator, I'm not in the classroom like I know some members are, so perhaps that's not as big of an issue as I think
How many days?
it
off
is,
do you
breaking
get?
up that as in November.
As an employee, how many days off do you get from your work?
To doing it.
Yeah.
A lot of people, if they're gonna be out Monday and out Thursday and Friday, or even Wednesday, whatever, they're gonna take the whole week. They're just gonna go on vacation and take the week. Gonna have fewer kids in the classroom. I would like to have a serious conversation with the instructional staff, because this is tradition that it happens, and I think vacations are planned years in advance, because that's when they can get
That's
away.
real. There's people that probably already planned their
Yeah.
vacation.
So-
based
Sure.
on that shift.
You know, I wouldn't want to make a haphazard decision about this, but get some input.
And to your point, I think there are several districts that just take the 2 days. So when we get the information, we'll be better informed.
Sure. And if you want, I can send, or Dr. Frost can send a staff survey out just to see what they prefer.
That would be great.
Because you did send the calendar to everybody, the 2 calendar versions, but not with that week affected. Okay.
Okay. We'll just keep rolling into the work session from that topic into any new business. Any new business?
I had a couple questions to discuss field trips. So I was just wondering how it's determined who goes on what field trips and the budgeting for that. I understand the environmental kids get grant funded, so they're going to some farm for that greenhouse, which is great. However, the gate kids in the junior high are being told they're not allowed to get a field trip, but they raised money for it. And apparently they were not given a reason why, and parents weren't given a reason why. So I think I know the reason, but I can't make accusations. But so what is it that the gate kids who raised money can't go on a field trip this year, but high school can, and some of the grant funded ones can?
So collectively, the decision was made when we had $2 million cut from our budget that there will be no field trips this year. The only students that are going on trips is if it's an academic competition, if it's an athletic event, or there are some trips that the special needs students have to take with their IEPs. Other than that, if any organization, like the social studies, any of them, AP, they raise money, they can go on a trip if it's after school or on the weekends.
And is that in conflict with any of the teachers' contracts?
Nope. Actually, one of our teachers right here often does that. She fundraises and takes them on their trip, and that's their decision and want to go and do that with them.
So if a teacher can't take a weekend because of family issues or whatnot, then you're penalizing the kids from going on a vacation or a field trip that they
We're not penalizing
that
any
they
students.
raised
and
money for.
a field trip is not required. So this is like an additional thing. If some club or organization wishes to fundraise for a trip, they can. They can do things after school also. they can plan an event after school and use their fundraising money for that as well.
But not during the school day.
Not during the school day, so we have to get substitutes, we have to get coverage, we have to get the buses. We're not doing any field trips this year during the school day.
But the high school is.
I just answered you.
Can you repeat it? I'm sorry. I missed that part. Is the high school going on field trips or no?
Academic competitions.
Okay.
Athletic events.
Okay.
And special education.
Okay. So, did you want to say something?
No, not right now.
It's fine, public.
Oh, okay, because someone keeps talking and I get distracted. Okay, so, I would ask that you relay that to the 7th and 8th grade gate kids, because they apparently, and the parents, we were not told about that, and we fundraised for that. That's all I have. Oh, I heard, so the budget cut too, then stopped intramural sports after school too?
So there's no intramurals at the junior high because we
Okay.
don't have any after-school coverage. There's no one physically sitting on coverage duty
Okay.
unless we have a sporting event happening like a game. So there's no intramurals after school for the junior high.
Okay, and then I understand there was junior high tutoring too that was no longer available?
We don't have any after-school monitors to watch
Okay.
any of the students. So there's not, that was replaced with the WIN period. So if
Oh,
a
the study
student,
hall?
if a student needs remediation,
Okay,
they get pulled out of WIN and they're getting remediation.
okay. And, that was due to budget cuts?
Yes.
Okay, but we're gonna approve $5,000 for a proofreader?
We've had a proofreader in the past. The person resigned. This person is replacing that person.
Okay.
And yes, that's a stipend.
That's sad.
Well, if
Okay.
we can cut back on our legal fees a little
Okay.
bit too, that would
Well,
be helpful.
maybe stop filing ethics charges against. me. I
Ladies,
wouldn't
we're
have
going
get
to move
that.
forward.
And maybe
There
not
we go.
having like a director
Do you have
and a
another question?
supervisor. No, we're having a work section, so, so maybe
Unders-
if we don't have a
understood.
director and a supervisor for positions. Oh, I do have another question. So on the October meeting, you said you sent out a notification to parents about the intruder. Did you want to clarify that?
Nope, I clarified to the board and apologized that it went out to the staff and not the parents. The end.
Okay, because I mean, transparency, you got to tell the parents.
Anything else under new or old business? Seeing none, item 6 is closed. Moving on to item 7, Residents Forum on agenda items only. Board policy number 0167 encourages community participation in every meeting. However, the board requests that the public respect a 3-minute time limit when commenting on agenda items. Anyone from the floor on agenda items only? Someone is at the podium already. Hello?
Hello, Christine Snyder, 7 Lippincott Drive. I would like to discuss the proofreader.
Discuss.
I'm going to make a couple questions that I'll provide. I'm just relating it to what agenda item it is. So the purpose, what is the goal of a proofreader? Is it to catch small errors, or is it to protect the district from potential lawsuits or public image issues? If it is the former, then surely the superintendent and their other highly educated employees are capable of proofreading small errors. Conversely, if it is the goal is to protect the district from specialized incidents, the district would need someone with specialized training, such as a legal proofreader, corporate communications expert, or a trained copy editor. Additionally, to justify the expense, wouldn't the person need to be either more educated than our current employees or more specialized? The current candidate does not have a higher level of education than our current superintendent, nor are they an expert in the related field. Necessity. Has the district demonstrated a necessity for a proofreader? Additionally, how many external communications are sent annually? I'm looking for some justifications for a $5,000 stipend. Efficiency. Having a proofreader effectively on a retainer would mean that in order to maximize the district's investment, the proofreader would need to oversee every external communication. What does that look like in urgent situations? For example, if the district is to cancel the district for a snow day is made at 4:30 a.m., is the superintendent going to call the proofreader at that time to proof the external communication? Adding a proofreader to supplement a highly trained, educated, and capable leadership team could simply add inefficiencies. The move could also create confusion as to who is responsible for external communications. Is the superintendent responsible, or is it the proofreader? Thank you. And just one last thing to add to Ms. Johnson's comment. I'm assuming that means that the senior trip to Florida is also canceled, because that's a field trip, if there are no field trips this year. Thank you.
Thank you. On agenda items only, anyone else from the floor? Yes.
Good evening, everyone. So real quick, I mean, I just came here, I was going to come and
Ms.
thank
Warner,
the,
Ms. Warner, just state your name.
oh, I'm sorry, Mrs. Perner, I'm a staff, I'm a teacher here, and also I'm a community member here. I live here in this community. I actually just came to thank everybody for supporting the clubs and their efforts to go on a trip. We had a great trip to 9/11, and then we took the kids over to the Bryant Park. And Ms. Johnson, as far as addressing the field trips, these are paid for by students. It's a club, and it's not a,
Agenda item,
You brought it up.
right?
but
It's
You brought it up.
this
it
is
got on
under,
the agenda.
this is,
and she still has to state her name and address. Like,
She
it's
did.
not
She did.
fair.
Excuse me. Excuse me, Ms. Johnson. Okay, my name is Catherine Perner. I live here in town, 539 Parker, 319 Parkertown Road. I teach over at the high school and I teach AP history. I'm also the leader for the history club. So when you brought up the thing about the clubs, and it was just the tone and the way you said it, I just kind of wanted to make sure you understood that yes, clubs take trips independently. And it is the clubs, that's what I get paid for. And so we do them twice a year, sometimes 3. And yes, I am fortunate enough, and I wanted to thank the board for their support and for my fellow teachers that volunteered to go with me. So that it's not coming out of the budget and it is paid for. But there was a tone that seemed as if the board was somehow punishing teachers or I don't know, there was something there that just kind of sparked me to come up and defend the clubs and that they are to take things. And as far as the Florida trip, they paid for it. That's student paid. It's
Exactly.
not coming out of the budget.
I didn't say anything about the Florida trip, and I didn't say anything.
Well,
about
I was
the-
just
I didn't
addressing
say
that
anything
one
about
Okay, Miss-
also.
just-
So
no,
anyhow,
I got it, Mrs.
I
Porter.
asked
Yes,
just-
love.
the gate field trip.
Stephanie.
Gifted and talented.
It's not a
Yeah.
back
What?
and forth,
Club.
Mr. President, it's not a back and forth.
Can I get to that point, please, without me sounding this way? I said, Mrs. Porter, I was going
Yes.
to address you to address the board, to
Okay.
continue to address the board, and to not have conversation with the audience. I guess you're justifying the senior trip as it is.
Oh, yeah, I was just.
Paid for in,
Yes.
personally paid
Right.
for by the students.
Yeah,
But
then I
just-
apologize. I'm
No.
so sorry. It was just like, I wanted to keep the line of evidence. like-
Understood.
Yes,
Without question, but
okay.
this is not a back and forth. If you need to, you can address the board or
Excuse me?
you, listen, miss, just if you want to come to the podium and address the board. No, I told her to halt conversing.
No, I never said upset. What?
Let's move
I wanted
forward,
to say
please.
thank
No,
you.
Mrs. Porter, thank you.
Thank you. And thanks
Thank
for
you.
supporting the history club at your trip. That was it. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
I'm glad the history club got to go on their field trip.
Gate is also a
glad.
club. Gate is a club. It's a class and it's a club.
Gifted and talented is a club.
Yes, if there's a stipend that is paid for the
Okay.
high school and the junior high school, it is a club. I sign off on the timesheet.
Okay,
Look on the.
so
on the
it's not
contract.
curriculum. They're not, the gate kids don't go take a different curriculum path than the regular kids, and that's
There's
a
gate
club.
class and then there's gate club.
So let's get back to
different things.
task, and that's a conversation that can be had privately or in board form, where I'll allow you to ask a question to each other. But understood. Back to item 7 under residence forum on agenda items only. Anyone? Oh, there you are. Hello.
Hi,
I was looking the other way. Who are you and where do you come from?
I'm Michelle Huminski, 123 Lake Medford Lane. I'm also a parent of a GATE student, a previous GATE student who went on all of these class trips. Now this year they were approved for a fundraiser. and now they're denied. Kids are extremely hurt because they look forward to going to Princeton. They look forward going to the Franklin Institute. And then they always look forward going to Broadway to New York. And they got denied all three of them. These kids work hard for that. And I get you guys are doing this whole thing with the proofreader. I get it. But that's $500 a month that we're paying somebody that 90% of our staff has a master's degree, an associate's degree, a bachelor's degree. We can't have other people look at stuff if stuff needs to be proofread. We have to pay somebody $500 a month for that. It takes away from the kids, and they're hurting about that.
Thank you. Anyone else from the floor on agenda items only? Jacob, you're making a move.
Sorry. Jacob Polchak, 23 Mayflower Drive. As a GATE student, I can say that last year we did have these trips. And I do believe that in a way, these trips were beneficial, not only to the student experience, but also as an enrichment activity that these students, my classmates, genuinely enjoyed. And there is a part of me that understands the board's perspective in this matter. But also, these kids, and I can't speak as much for 7th grade as I can the 8th grade, but these kids are disappointed. These kids did fundraise. We did our chocolate fundraiser, which we did last year to pay for our first Broadway trip. But our trips that we go on, these are like the Princeton trip. I was looking very forward to the Princeton trip. That's somewhere that I want to go. But these kids are upset and not necessarily mad at the board because there are compromises that you have to make, especially when you get $2 million in budget cuts. But these kids are disappointed. And I think that not necessarily that this isn't fair, but I think you are taking something away from these kids that is, in a way, that very much benefits the students. So I just wanted to say that. Thanks.
Thank you, Jacob. Anyone else on agenda items only? Seeing no movement, I will close item 7 and move into the business portion and go to item number 8. And under instructional, I ask for a motion to approve instructional items 8A through 8D as recommended by the superintendent.
Motion.
Second.
Any discussion on those items 8A through 8D? Hearing none. Amanda, roll call vote, please.
Miss Betty?
Yes.
Mr. Hewitt?
Yes.
Miss Johnson?
Yes.
Miss Crystal Martin?
Yes.
Miss Patty Martin?
Yes.
Mrs. McVeigh?
Yes.
Mr. Dalio?
Yes.
Mr. Bonnicky?
Yes.
Motion carries.
Item 9, under personnel. I ask for a motion to approve personnel items 9A through 9S as recommended by the superintendent.
Motion.
Second.
Any discussion on items 9A through 9S?
On item I, for the proofreader, like, how often is this person used for proofreading?
Quite often, and like I said, I did mention to some of you who emailed me, and I appreciate your questions, that this is a replacement. This is not a new position. We had someone in this previously that did it for years and got the stipend. It came about when a couple of things had happened. Signs for this building were ordered by a secretary, and a word was misspelled. So 200 signs had a word misspelled on it. There was some communications that had occurred at night events, at concerts, and board members were called Mr. when they were a Mrs. Little things like that. the person actually has been doing this without getting paid, was looking through the yearbook today to proof that, and a staff member's picture was in there and the name was wrong. It was a different staff member's name. So like things like that, not everyone could pick up unless they know the entire staff. So they are used quite often. So what we tell is a secretary in the district is any type of mass communication that's going to be going out, whether it's purchasing signs, the yearbooks, things like that, pamphlets being made for a chorus concert, they go through the proofreader. And as I said, this is not a new position. I'll leave it at that.
But it was a position that we were probably paying money for that we don't need to, because for a typist, clerical, secretary 1 and secretary 2, the 5th qualifications demonstrate the ability to communicate effectively in the English language, both orally and through written expression. Your job as clerical or secretary should be able to write efficiently. We shouldn't have someone to proofread it. Students don't get to pay someone to proofread their stuff. It's accountability. It's just our district, again, being meh, mediocrity. We're okay with mediocrity. We have a gate teacher that misspelled words on their website. Is that the proofreader is going to do that? It's just ridiculous that it's $5,000, and we did face that budget cut. It's just we should pad some money because we don't know what cuts are going to come. We have 23 plus secretaries in our small district of 7th to 12th grade receiving over 1.3 million in payroll, not including benefits. If you can't proofread your stuff before you go out, shame on you. And this person, should they not have more than a high school diploma? Like, are they English major? Do they have a master's degree? It's just ridiculous. $5,000 to proofread other people's district printouts. And if we get a yearbook and it's wrong, you can't send it back. We've already got the copy of it. What does it matter? So she could look through all the yearbooks. It's
It
just,
hasn't
it's
been
so
published yet.
ridiculous. You
They're-
don't have to
she's
talk to
looking
me
at it
because
now
it's
because it
not,
has to be
it's not a
proofed now. Okay,
conversation
interrupt me like
because
you always do. It's fine.
you're,
Mr.
Again,
Bonnicky?
here we go
you
again.
answer to us. Just remember
Okay.
that.
Mr. President.
Any other
but-
discussion
Mr.
on
President,
items
Mr.
9A
President, I have a
through
question.
9S?
I have a question.
Very
You're allowing
good.
people to speak. I
Yes,
like to speak too.
I'm asking if there's any
Okay,
other questions.
I don't want to break the mic. This is the time that we discuss and we talk about things and go over and debate. But there's another thing when you start entering into grandstanding. So please, I ask you with all due respect, control the meeting. Thank you.
Oh my gosh, decorum. Decorum.
Any other questions?
You're serious.
Like, clutch my pearls.
It's never ending with her.
I can't.
Any other questions on items 9A through 9S?
Just wanted to finish my thought about 9I. I understand the rationale behind it, but we've made cuts in a lot of other areas that affect students. To me, that just seems like something, it just seems like something extra that we don't need to be spending money on. And I granted, I don't work in the department that does the proofreading, but you know, we're cutting field trips, we're cutting other items like that. It just seems a little, I don't know if frivolous is the right word, but it seems a little extra. So.
Any other discussion? Amanda, roll call vote, please, on items 9A through 9S.
Miss Betty.
Yes on everything, no on 9I.
Noted. Mr. Hewitt.
Yes to everything, no on I.
Ms. Johnson.
Yes, to everything, no on I.
Miss Martin. Miss Crystal Martin.
Yes on everything, no on I.
Miss Patty Martin.
yes and no on I.
Mrs. McVeigh?
Yes.
Mr. Dalio?
Yes on everything, no and I.
Mr. Bonnicky?
Yes. Yes.
Motion carries except for 9I, which was denied.
Item 10, harassment, intimidation, and bullying. I ask for a motion to approve HIB item 10A as recommended by the superintendent.
Motion.
Second.
Any further discussion on HIB item 10A? Hearing none. Amanda, roll call vote, please.
Miss Betty?
Yes.
Mr. Hewitt?
Yes.
Ms. Johnson?
No.
Crystal Martin?
Yes.
Ms. Patty Martin?
Yes.
Mrs. McVeigh?
Yes.
Mr. Dalio?
Yes.
Mr. Bonnicky?
Yes.
Motion carries.
Item, item 11, policies and procedures. There are none at this time. We'll move into item 12 under operations. I ask for a motion to approve operations items 12A through 12C as recommended by the superintendent.
Motion.
Second.
Any question on items 12A through 12C? Hearing none. Amanda, roll call vote, please.
Miss Betty?
Yes.
Mr. Hewitt?
Yes.
Ms. Johnson?
Yes.
Ms. Crystal Martin?
Yes.
Ms. Patty Martin?
Yes.
Mrs. McVeigh?
Yes.
Mr. Dalio?
Yes.
Mr. Bonnicky?
Yes.
Motion carries.
Moving on to the report of the Secretary Business Administrator, item 13. I ask for a motion to approve the report of the Board Secretary Business Administrator, agenda items 13A through 13L, as recommended by the superintendent.
Motion.
Second.
Thank you. Any questions or any discussion regarding items 13A through 13L?
I had a question about the travel and training for the Texpo. How do we determine who's going to that?
Which one? We wanted to go and we signed up and it's in my contract that I get travel and so does Mr. Henderson.
Okay, so even though it's a Texpo and it's designed for IT professionals, ed tech experts, school leaders, you want to go all 3 days, even though there's a lesser package where we could spend less money. And most of this is all tech information, or I would expect like the director of curriculum should be going as opposed to the principal. So was anybody else interested in going to that or just you and Mr. Henderson?
So at this point, just Mr. Henderson and I are interested in going. We don't have a director of curriculum. We have an assistant superintendent. And the vendors that we meet at Texpo, I've had relationships for years with. And Mr. Henderson has a focus in his school about school safety, and a lot of the vendors are there as well. It is actually more cost efficient to go all 3 days.
Well, she is the
Any other-
director of curriculum, right? Isn't she listed as the director of curriculum on the website?
She's the assistant superintendent.
Okay, then we might need to clear that up on the website because I think she's listed as the director of curriculum for math and science, I believe.
Okay, we'll look into that.
Yeah.
Any other questions on items 13A through 13L? Hearing none. Amanda, roll call vote, please.
Miss Betty?
Yes.
Mr. Hewitt?
Yes.
Ms. Johnson?
13, yes.
Oh, I'd like to remind you.
Yeah, you don't
are-
have to. Yes to all except for Troy for the Tech Expo.
Miss Miller was reminding you have to abstain on anything
I
including
don't know
me.
why you're talking to me. I really don't.
Because I'm the superintendent,
I'm
and you have to
you
abstain.
answer to us as the board member. 3 of your ethics charges were
Stephanie,
dismissed.
she's responding as she
But she
is
doesn't
allowed
have
to
to
respond.
respond.
She's responding to the
business
comment.
administrator and the secretary will
Okay.
talk to me, or you
All
will
right.
talk to me.
Move
She
to a
doesn't
vote.
have to talk to me.
Amanda, roll call vote, please.
So your vote is yes to everything except for Troy.
Correct.
Mr. Henderson, I'm sorry. I'm sorry, Mr. Henderson. Noted. Miss Crystal Martin?
Yes.
Miss Patty Martin?
Yeah.
Mrs. McVeigh?
Yes.
Mr. Delio?
Yes.
Mr. Bonnicky?
Yes.
Motion carries.
Item 14, informational items. We have monthly attendance, the monthly discipline reports, and security drill. These are always on our budget or on our agenda in the same spots. Any questions or Doc, any additional information on those items?
Nope.
Any questions from the board on items 14A, B, or C? If there are none, we'll move into residents' forum on general topics. Board policy number 0167 encourages community participation in every meeting. However, the board requests that the public respect a 3-minute time limit when commenting on any topic. Anyone from the floor on any topic may come to the podium. Anyone? I go once. Anyone? I go twice. And third, residents' forum is closed. We will go to item 16 under board forum, and I'm going to start to my far left. Lisa Betty.
I hate it when you do that.
Max, take over right
No,
now.
Max, I won't do that.
No!
I'll go, Max, if you would.
Dun, dun, dun.
Just regarding certain, just everything. Whether you are attending a meeting in audience or just on the board in general, I think everyone should just remain respectful with your tone, time of others, and just in your responses. There's no reason for certain outbursts and actions going on. It's a respected position as well as place of discussion. You should just remain respectful to others, yourself, and really see and comprehend where you are and the position you have. Other than that, I wish everyone a happy holidays and remain safe.
Thank you, Max. Crystal Martin.
Gonna say ditto.
Thank you. Stephanie Johnson.
Congrats to the November junior high and high school students of the month. Congrats to the varsity winner cheer who won a bid for nationals. And congratulations to trombonist sophomore Christian Thigpen, accepted to South Jersey High School Symphonic Band. Out of 400 applicants, he got into that band, which was great. This has been an interesting year for me, especially as a first-time board member. As a board member, I am only one vote, but I have a responsibility to the constituents of Little Egg Harbor and students of Pinelands to ask questions and vote based on what I believe is in our best interest. Unfortunately, if you ask questions or question the validity of statements or presentations from certain employees the board is in charge of, I am considered a threat to the board. If you don't agree with how the CSA runs the school and voice it, then you are outcasted and lies are spread about you. I believe we should be taking money away from admin positions and putting it back to aid our teachers and students. 3 specific board members and the CSA are both bothered by my presence, that they have purposely impeded and interfered with my duties as an elected official. Since December, in every executive session, the CSA and board council have spun lies about me rather than focusing on the district. I urge our constituents and students to speak up about your concerns, whether it be spending, curriculum, field trips, or the hiring of the Family Friends Plan. You elected us to speak for you. I will continue to do my job, and if you're so bothered by that, then I must be doing something right. Happy holidays. Happy New Year. And season 2 of the Stephanie Johnson Show, Betty, coming to you January.
What was that?
Uncalled for.
What is that? What is
Lisa Betty.
All right, I'd like to
What's wrong with
apologize
you?
to Max and thank him for being a gentleman and taking that bullet for me. And ditto to what you said, well said. I do want to say something about the gate trips. I think they're amazing. They were amazing, and I understand we have budgets, and I doubt that the students were able to raise enough money to cover everything that the trips entail. Is that correct?
I don't know the
Okay.
total on that
Then-
right now.
Then I don't know if this is possible, but could we revisit that?
So I'm sorry, is
From
my
year to
microphone
year.
still on? So we could, I mean, one of the problems that we've had in the past with that is they're the only students going on class trips. And a lot of our students that don't come from such supportive families as the GATE students often do, get to go nowhere. And it really was definitely a disparity among the GATE students and the rest of the population here. So we've made a blanket decision that if they can still go. No one's saying they can't go on the trips. It's just not going to be during the school day. And just at this board meeting alone, we've talked about being in school more, but then going on field trips.
I would, they're not possibly couldn't go on a weekend?
They,
Like
they
this-
can,
they
absolutely,
are a club,
absolutely.
Correct?
Club. They can go after
So
school.
as a club, I'd like to know if
100%.
we can revisit that.
Sure.
Doing it in a way that does not affect the others.
No, but they can. They already know that. We've met with the teacher. You know, she's conveyed to the students. She's met with some parents, but they can go after school. We get done school at 1:45. They can go at the
Okay.
end of the day.
So if that's something they
Sure.
want to talk about.
100%.
We need to look at that.
Yes.
Thank you. The other things I wanted to say were simply, the thespians, it's a big deal, the tryouts and all that stuff, and it's exciting, and I wish the whole company excellent luck. And, I'm intrigued by the hot chocolate sale, but that's another story. And I'm very happy. This is a really special time, so I hope everybody's able to make the most of it. Friends, family, food, the finer things in life. All right, so thank you.
Thank you, Lisa. Patty Martin.
To also touch on GATE, just something to discuss in the future. I'm wondering, they've worked so hard for fundraising. The monies that they've raised, can that hopefully carry over to something that
So
works out?
that
in the
money
future?
stays with them till they're seniors.
Perfect.
So that money follows them, so they can do other things in the future. We talked today about like some celebrations after school. I know the teacher wanted to have like an alumni event, but she wanted it in the middle of the day, and it would disrupt learning for other students. So we talked about having it right after school. So she is going to be planning that.
Good to know that the money they raised
Yes.
stayed with them. And also, if there's ever the opportunity, if they, need some, if something is decided and they are going to go on a Saturday, if there could be some, like a general, not just per, one student doing the fundraising, if they could come to board meetings
Sure.
and sell those candy bars, that would be,
Patty, we're
that would
buying
be wonderful.
candy.
Anything we can do to help you, please, bring
You
it.
can make me buy a candy bar.
I'd also like to say, on the agenda, I really love to see, this time around, it was, underneath substitutes, former students, former teachers in the district and community members, to see them come on board as substitute teachers. I just think is wonderful. The community members, former students, and the teachers themselves that come back as substitutes. I just think that is absolutely wonderful. Congratulations to the thespians. I totally enjoyed Noises Off. Welcome to Ryan, and I would just like to wish Shannon Zimmerman all the best. Thank her for her service, and all the best to her and her family. And one more thing that I want to stay on top of, and I'm going to bring it up at every meeting for senior parents, senior students, we have got to stay on top of these kids applying for these scholarships.
Yes. Guidance takes care of that.
Yeah.
They do a
I
good
know,
job.
but it's them, it's the
Sure.
students and it's the parents.
Fair.
I mean, guidance can only do so
Oh,
much.
of course.
But then it's these kids, we have to get these kids to apply, and, the parents as well.
Sure.
There are plenty of scholarships out there.
There is, so let's get going, guys, let's get these, let's start winning them.
Thanks, Patty. David Hewitt.
I'd just like to thank Shannon Zimmerman for serving on the board for the past 3 years. It's definitely a commitment of time and energy and effort, and we appreciate that. Would just like to comment about the GATE trip. It would be good if there was a clarification letter sent out to parents. the explanations that I read online and the explanation that I got from my own daughter were vastly different. The explanation I got from administration was more in line with one of the views than the other, but it would be good if we got a
Sure.
clarification as parents to know exactly what's going on. I mean, I have kids that have been in the enrichment club and in the class as well, and I know there's two different things that are going on there, but explanation. would
Sure,
help.
I'll speak with the teacher tomorrow.
Thanks. Congratulations to our performing arts department and the different concerts that have been going on. They have done a wonderful job, put a lot of hard work and effort into that. It's great to see our athletes getting ready for their winter season and beginning to compete. Just wonderful that we have a lot of opportunities for the kids in the after-school programs to do that. It's great to see that there are clubs like the History Club going to see important places like the September 11th Memorial and different things like that, giving kids experiences they might not always get a chance to have. Just, you know, I feel like I said this last month, but we're again at another point where we've come to a meeting and we've gone beyond just talking about the discourse of ideas and whether we think things are right or think things are wrong or agree with a decision that's made, and we're veering off and getting into personal attacks, and it's just not right, and it can't continue. We've got to pull ourselves together. It's not a good representation of us as individuals on the board, as the board as a whole, and as a school district. We've got to move beyond this. We've got to work through these things. I think at some point we're going to need mediation. The training that was done a couple weeks ago was wonderful. She did a great presentation. But I think at some point here we need some mediation. Something's got to give. Otherwise, people are going to start, I don't know, resigning from the board, walking away from volunteer positions because, you know, there are people that are genuinely worried about the ramifications of even being part of the group right now. And we've got to rise above this. We just can't continue like this. And on a more positive note, enjoy the holiday season. It's a great time of year to spend with family, and you know, I know many families were looking forward to Friday afternoon and having some time off and with our kids and other family members.
Thank you, David. Betty Ann McVeigh.
Well said. Thank you, David. I'd like to thank Keith Lowe. I believe he is leaving us at the end of the
Yep,
month.
he's going on to a
Moving
supervisor
on to
position.
bigger and better things. I've known Keith for a long time. His positive influence as a teacher and a coach, and his positive influence as a positive male role model on students and athletes has been tremendous. I would especially like to thank him for his wonderful male role model that he presented to my granddaughter. Just a great guy. Our loss is another district's gain for sure. I'd like to thank Ms. Porter for being here tonight. What an excellent teacher, what a great representation of what Pinelands is about. And I would hope that in Dave's vein, that we treat each other with more respect, and certainly she deserves to be treated with respect. I just want to say that my vote supporting the proofreading stipend in no way was a vote against the GATE field trips. The budget process is underway now for next year. I do recall talking about this in last year's budget cycle. We did have a $2 million shortfall, and the money had to come from somewhere. It was bits and pieces here and there, and it was a decision made by the board collectively, the budget committee and the board, when we decided not to fund that. But as we have in the past, I certainly think we can reevaluate it and think about that again in the future. The proofreading position, I supported it. I worked in a government agency that had a proofreader. In the long run, it actually ends up saving money because it just happens that things fall through the cracks. It's not like spell check or mom and dad reading a paper. It's things that are published, things that are produced. And sometimes when you're looking at it yourself and you created it, you don't see the mistake, and another set of eyes will. And that person takes the responsibility to make sure that something that's being sent out to print is spelled correctly. $5,000 and a multi-million-dollar budget to help prevent those kind of things from happening is actually good management. But again, democracy prevailed, and majority of the board members didn't feel that way. Thank you for your time. Thank you for the administrators who come month after month to be here, and I wish you all the best. Merry Christmas, happy holidays, and that's that. Thank you.
Thank you, Betty Ann. Augudelio.
Yes. Yeah, well, first off, thank you to administrators for all the hard work they do, our teachers, our superintendent, and also our attorney. If I could just reflect back a little bit, I won't take up too much of your time. Merry Christmas to all of you too. Back in 2022, in January, I suffered what they call an aortic dissection. On that day, I was dying, and they had to rush me to the University of Pennsylvania. They airlifted me to the University of Pennsylvania Hospital. I probably had about an hour left before my heart would stop. I almost bled out. So it was a 9-hour open heart surgery that doctor saved my life. After that, in recovery, and ever since then, my perspective on life is completely different than before. They say don't sweat the small stuff. I don't. Being on this Board of Education has been very impactful for me, and it's very important because I believe at the end of the day, we're here for the students and make sure that they get the best education any other district in our state could get, that they get. So with that being said, this last year has been very trying. I think most of the public that watches our meetings, they can attest to that. I've never been involved with each month trying to put out either someone's fired or lighting. The month after month, week after week, email after email of negativity, of attacking people, of things that are being said, and how people how they speak to one another. The level of respect has never been at such a low level, in my opinion. Like tonight, Ms. Johnson brought up the 5,000 stipend. And even something like that, I agreed with her. I'm listening to what she's saying. I also believe that she undermines any kind of good that she brings to this board. And it's sad to say that I have to see that. In my career as a board member, I've never, ever filed an ethics complaint against any sitting board member. Never. And I've never had an ethics complaint filed against me. And I've worked with, over 100 different people from the township. This year, Ms. Johnson has roughly 16 against her, and she filed against one, and that's going against me, and that's going to be seen at one point. I think we're going to be going to a court-like setting, and we'll hash that out. And if I'm found to be wrong, then I'll apologize, Ms. Johnson. I don't believe I'm wrong, but I just want to explain the scope of what I see as a long time tenured board member. I think that some of the behavior I've watched over the year is unbelievable. Certain people should be ashamed of their behavior. We're all adults here. We all represent the people that voted for us to be here. And I think that's what we're doing. This board has been working together on many agenda items and different things that impact the students. It's unfortunate that we continue going down that same road, and I'm hoping that in 2025 that there's some changes so we can work together. I put no faith in that, but I want to put it out there. I appreciate working with everybody. Ms. Zimmerman, she was a pleasure to work with. I wish her best in all her endeavors. To the rest of my fellow board members, Merry Christmas, Happy New Year, and let's start 2025 off on a better note. Thank you.
Thank you. Boardsmen, thank you for your comments. Attendees, thank you for your patience and time always in attending our meetings. And I will love to wish everyone, I'm going to wish you a Merry Christmas and have a Happy New Year. I'm going to ask for a motion to adjourn the meeting.
Motion.
Second.
All in favor? Any opposed? Any abstentions? This meeting is closed. Be safe going home.